about it and do something!
Suck my dick, Earth, with that bullshit.
Really?
It's like a gentle hate.
Do we have another benevolent star here? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Are you benevolent? Is your friend?
My name is Logan Paul, and I think I'm coming out of the flat earth closet.
This is so fucking depressing. I can't be a flat earth person.
You can't have it both ways. You can't have a flat earth and things making sense.
Good evening, YouTube, and welcome to another edition of Gem's Flat Earth Sunday Roast. Yes, we are back with the show they don't want you to see. In tonight's show, we bring you the very best from the last week in Conspiritardia, all the latest from Flatoberfest. As always, we are on the streets with the revolting peasants, and we bring you an epic trolling event. All this and more in tonight's Flat Pack show. I am your host, Gem, and joining me, as always, are just two of the kids from the Debate Flat Earth and More Discord server. They are Kosho and Curved. Good evening, gentlemen, and welcome.
Hola. Yeah, we're not even the cool kids of the server anymore.
I didn't
we're just
say cool, did I? I noticed that as I went by. I know, I haven't mixed it over yet, people. Hang on, I'm doing it now. Coach, you might want to turn your camera off because you've got that horrible logo thing behind you. And now
I think it's worth
now I can't stop the bloody
this girl can be lit red. You can't really hear what she's saying because everyone's screaming and squawking.
I've got it here.
But you can.
And joining us, a very special guest this evening to bring us the hot and latest news is our good friend from the other side of the fence, Ranty. Good evening, Ranty.
Hey.
How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm not bad, actually. Not bad.
Good. I'm glad to see you. So, you are here to tell us about your court case, I guess. So, do you want to give people a very brief background to what happened? Because I think most people are kind of familiar with how you ended up in court, I think. But tell them anyway, if you don't mind.
Well, it's a long story. I tried to help somebody that was in need of assistance, and I got basically stabbed in the back over it, taken to court over it, and truth won out in the end. That's all I can say. So
I'll tell people briefly. Basically, Ranty did his regular show that he does several times a week, and in one of them, he did some fundraising activity for Roxanne. And this was at the beginning of lockdown. She needed to raise money. She hadn't got a lot of money. Everyone was shitting themselves about there being no food left in the shops. And she needed to get a stack of money because she'd got a family, wanted some groceries. And that's likely to run to, if you're stocking up, likely to run to a couple of £100 at least, isn't it? So that was the idea, to raise a bit of money for that. Ranty did his show. He asked people to donate to her. He had a link in his description, a PayPal link for her to donate. He specifically asked people not to give super chats because that's messy. And it would have she needed the money there and then, and you don't get super chat money there and then. You wait weeks for it. So anyway, but people did anyway. One thing led to another. Ranty got a great big donation through the super chat. He got several donations to super chat. In Super Chat for Roxanne, where people said, this is for Roxanne. Then he got some other Super Chats that were for him. One of them was very large. And so there was a dispute over this large Super Chat and who it should go to. And the Roxanne, who Ranty was trying to help, took him to court. I think very much aided and abetted by Sleeping Warrior. So really, I guess what people are interested in, I know what I'm interested in, is what was this actual court case like? Can you sort of give us an account of how that played out? It was done virtually, I believe.
It's actually quite funny because there's something that happened that I've not really told anybody. So this is going to be an absolute exclusive here, and you guys are going to live this to the fullest.
We like exclusives.
You're going to live this to the fullest, I tell you. It's so funny. Anyway, so turned up to the court. It's all virtual. So I expected just Roxanne to be there. I didn't realise that I was going to join this meeting. And Tony Riley was there, obviously, and Adam Meakin was there, Roxanne was there, the judge was there, the court usher was there, and myself. So I'm thinking to myself, what are these two idiots doing there? No offense to Adam. Adam's not an idiot, but you know what I mean? I'm just thinking, what are these two guys doing here? And anyway, I was a bit taken aback by that, the fact that they were actually there, because I thought, well, what can they add to the whole thing? Anyway, so I've joined, and of course, first thing I say is, hello, can anyone hear me, sort of thing, and I didn't get a real answer from that for about. I asked 3 times, and then I just shut up because I just assumed, well, maybe they can or maybe they can't. I don't know. I'll get asked at some point.
Right.
But Tony was there, and he's going, "Can you hear me? Is my audio coming through fine? Is it good? This went on for about 90 seconds. He's faffing around with his audio, right? And he finally gets it to a position where, yeah, is my audio okay? Yeah, is my audio okay? And the judge goes, yes, we can hear you now, Mr. Riley. It's all good. We heard you originally. We've heard you for the last whatever. It's all good. We can hear you now. She goes, right. So then she goes, right, yes, we can start now. So she starts the court proceeding. And Tony is listening to a debate at the same time. Right? God. And through his microphone, we hear somebody shout, fucking this, that, and the other, right? Swear. The judge goes, who is swearing in my court? And I turned around and went, that came through Auntie Riley's mic, Mom. So Tony goes, dude, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Oh, hang on, wait a minute. He goes, should be good now. And the judge just looked at him like with daggers. It was so funny. And then it got to the point where she asked Roxanne a little bit. She asked me a little bit. Then she moved on to Riley, and she said, "So, Mr. Riley, have you got anything to add to this?" And he says, "Yes. Have you got my witness statement there?" She goes, "Hang on, wait a minute." So she's looking for this witness statement. It took her a while to find it. There was so many documents there. Eventually, she finds it, and she goes, "Yes, I've got it now." So Tony goes, "Right. So what it is, there are a few things to consider in this particular argument here. I'd like to start with," and she goes, hold on, wait a minute, hold on. She says, who are you? She says, who are you? He goes, I'm a witness. Yes, but are you a witness? Were you there at the time? And he goes, no. Were you on the panel? She says. He goes, no. She says, well, you weren't really a witness then. He says, well, I watched the stream. She says, look, it's like this. You've spoken now, and that's all I'm going to hear from you. I'm not going to listen to another word you've got to say. You can put yourself on mute. That is the whole thing that you are going to have in this entire courtroom session right now. That's the last I'm going to hear of you. So put yourself on mute and be quiet. Oh, it was golden, and I thought it was like this is her paying him back, I think, for him swearing. Well, for having that swear word come through in her court, because it was quite clear that he's turned up to court and he's got one ear on the court session and he's got one ear on a fucking live stream, and she was obviously thinking, this guy's taking the fucking piss.
Right.
Oh, it was so funny.
Imagine you've got him, representing you, or if you like, in court, because it kind of, I guess that was kind of the idea from Roxanne's point of view, and straight away, instantly, he's annoyed the judge. Before the things even started with his faffing around, he's annoyed the judge, and then annoyed her again with the swearing and the debate. I kind of wonder if that was me that was swearing.
That's what I was going to ask. Is there any idea who that was, so you can thank the person?
I have honestly have no idea, but whoever it was, I thank them.
Yeah. It could have been you, Curved. I reckon that might have been you, mate. That could have been you.
Oh, it was so funny. The way she put him down, it was like she was I mean, she didn't like him. I mean, it might have been to do with the fact the amount of evidence that I put forth. And to be fair, I laid a lot of the stuff down at his feet. So I was directing a lot of the stuff to him, what he'd done, what he'd said, how he'd gone about doing all this. She knew who he was, obviously, through what I'd written in my statement and the evidence that I'd put forth. So she probably had a good idea of what a dick he was. And then he actually acted like a dick as well in a courtroom. And then when she said to him, "Have you got anything to say?" He said, "Yes, it's like this, ma'am. Right, well, the first thing we need to consider here is like taking over like a fucking lawyer judge." She was just like, "You can shut the fuck up. You shut the fuck up, motherfucker. You put yourself on mute and be a good boy."
I think you've got the measure of it right. It sounds like she had read through this stuff and she was expecting this, sort of amateur lawyer to turn up and try and play that role. You know what I mean? I think she was. It kind of feels like that, doesn't it? That she was kind of ready for him in a sense,
Oh,
or at least ready for somebody with it amongst you to be that person. That they probably have stuff like this before. That's similar in this sense. Who knows? Anyway, so go on. So what happens next? Riley gets silenced.
Riley gets silenced. She moves on to Adam Meakin, asks if he was an actual witness. He said no, he only really watched the first hour of it, but he wasn't actually part of the actual debate. So, he didn't have a lot to add to it. Basically, he was just, again, one of the people that had seen the stream after the show sort of thing. So it basically came down to me and Roxanne. And, I'm sat there, answering the judge's thing, telling things how it happened, explaining things. Roxanne, she's very elusive with a question. She just said it's all down in the, whenever the judge asked her a question, she pretty much said, yeah, it's all down in my witness statement, ma'am. Yeah, if you want to look at my witness statement, it says it all there. And then she was getting up, she was sitting down, she was walking around the room, then she was coming back, then she was crying, then she was getting up, then she's walking around again, then she sat down
What
again.
made her cry then? What got...
It was within the first 10 minutes she started to cry, and I'm like, "What are you talking? Wait, what? Why are you crying? What are you on about?" And then she just wouldn't sit down. She was up, she was down, she was up, she was down. I'm like, when somebody's, and she's obviously, the judge is looking to see, well, how invested are you in what I'm saying? Because whenever the judge turned to me to ask me questions, she got up and walked around. She wasn't listening. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And the judge must have seen this, because obviously I'm saying, look, well, you've just heard what Roxanne said, but if you want to look at this particular part here, ma'am, you'll see where I actually take what she's just said there. If you want to look at this particular JPEG or whatever that shows you that what she's just said is not the truth.
Right.
Literally, look at that. Look at this. This is what I've brought to court. You can see that I'm telling you the truth. She's not telling you the truth. Right. And yeah, that's what it was like. And it went pretty quick, actually. I think it was only like half an hour. So I only spoke about maybe, 500 words or something like that. At one point, me and Roxanne nearly got into an argument because she lied, man, and I just couldn't help myself. I was like, what?
What did she say?
She said, hang on, let me get it right, because it has to be, I don't want to say something that wasn't right. It was to do with, hang on, it was to do with you, actually. I think it was to do with it was to do with you and Toady when you two guys asked Roxanne who was it
I think I'd said to her I'd made some comment about what she was going to do with all that money or something like that.
It wasn't that, actually. It was because I just said, if you notice, Mum, I says every time Sam Hain made a super chat, I thanked Sam Hain personally, like you would do, and Roxanne didn't. She didn't pipe up and say anything to Sam Hain, but she did do when people made super chats to her. So it was quite clear she knew who was donating to who at the time. And Roxanne turned around and said, "You told me not to say anything about those Sam Hain chats. You demanded or instructed me not to accept those super chats from Sam Hain." I went, "You what?" I said, "What?" Because that just didn't happen. You know what I mean? It just didn't happen. I went, "I beg your pardon." I said, we almost got into an argument over it, and the judge said, "This is supposed to be a civil case, and there's no need to argue." I said, "Mom," I said, "can I just say one thing?" I said, "Roxanne's just made a claim there. I beg her to go and find me the proof of what she's just said, whether it be a written statement or whether it be a verbal statement, something that just backs up what she's just said, because that's just a complete lie.
Right.
I mean? That was the one time I got triggered. But yeah, she definitely. I mean, she lied so bad it was unbelievable. She said that I'd set up a fundraising stream for her and discussed this with her before the show. I'm like, that just didn't happen.
Right.
That never happened. Didn't even happen at all. Nothing like that happened. It was literally something off my own back that I just decided to do for her as a surprise, more than anything, to give her a shout out. And there was no fundraising stream, nothing like that she made out it was a fundraising stream. She said that I offered her this fundraising stream and she had to take it. She had to take it because she'd lost a job.
Right.
And I'm like, what do you mean you've lost your job? So I went and I looked through the stream, and 5 times in the chat, she's talking, to people in the chat, and she's saying, "Oh yeah, I work from home, I do this, I'm working that, I'm working here." 5 times, and I'm like, so how the fuck did you just put down in your witness statement that you'd lost your job when you're telling my audience that you're working? This makes no sense. Everything that she said in the witness statement, I didn't recognize it, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame.
And I'm like,
I wonder if Riley didn't write that witness statement. It's just, when you say she wasn't able to answer stuff and just kept saying it's in my witness statement. I wonder how familiar she was with what was in that witness statement.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, she's probably read it a few times and was maybe there when it was concocted at some point, but she may not be, as familiar with it as you would be if it was all your own work, Yeah.
I think above anything, you proved to everybody that you're a much better lawyer than Sleeping Warrior.
Right. Right. Although I'm not sure how much of an accolade that is.
Well, is he nil for 10 now, and I'm 1 for 1. So that's not bad. Yeah, I've got 100% record. He's got 100% record too.
Yeah, I think he's lost the last 7 things he's been involved in. I think somebody said. I think that's what. I don't know if that's the actual number, but
I can't believe he was listening to a debate on mic.
Yeah.
He's lost his case with his ex as well. So
that's he's lost a few. So what happened at the judgment then? Like, how does it conclude this?
So the conclusion was that the judge essentially backed me up with what she said when she came to the conclusion that when I explained my everything comment, she understood exactly what it meant, because everybody knows that you've got different ways of saying something. Your everything is different to my everything. If I said to you, for instance, if I said, if you're right, supposing you've got a girlfriend, right, and your girlfriend says you're my everything, what does that mean? You're an abuser, a rapist, a brother? Is that what it means? If you're the everything, are you the brother, the father as well?
Right.
I mean, come on. What? Or is it personal to what you mean by your everything?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's literally, you can't have everything meaning everything. There's different fucking. Anyway, so the judge completely backed me up. She basically sort of like laid my honesty, more than she sort of like was saying, I don't think you did anything wrong, basically.
Right.
But also, she said the reason I'm dismissing it wasn't because of that. That was not because of that. She basically just gave me the thumbs up to say, yeah. But then she said the reason I'm dismissing it is because there is no trust. There was no trust agreement made.
Right.
That one, what did she call it? She said there was a one ambiguous comment.
Yeah.
One ambiguous comment that they're claiming makes a trust. And I'm telling you now that does not make a trust. It doesn't constitute a trust. You are not now the trustee or something like that. She's not the claimant or whatever. So there was no legal reason for me to even contemplate this going, in any way, shape or form in your favor. Because if we just base it on the legal aspect, there was no trust. And for that reason, that's why I'm throwing it out. That's why you haven't won your case, basically.
Right.
And she was very clear about that. She was very, very clear that was the reason.
Right.
And I suppose if it came down to a moral point of view too, she also gave me the thumbs up from the moral perspective too. But that wasn't the reason that she gave the win to me. You know what I mean? She was basically saying, I understood what you meant. Clearly any sane person did as well.
Because Riley's been framing it that you've redefined the word everything, you and the judge have, and and it's all about the use of the word everything. Because Riley sees all legal cases as an argument about a single word. It's always that way with him.
Well, no, I mean, I made the argument in court when she asked me specifically what did I mean by the everything remark. I turned around and said, look, if you've just come back from the shop with some shopping, you've gone out shopping, you come back, you've got shopping in the car, and you say, can you get everything out of the car, love? And then you go back 15 minutes later and you've got your partner still digging out the seats in the car and the CD player. He's got that out. It's on the floor. And he's digging out the logbook and everything else. And you say, what the hell are you doing? And you go, well, you told me to get everything out of the car. I say, yeah, I meant the shopping. Not the seats and everything else that goes with it. I mean, come on. There's a limit to your... But, to me personally, my everything at that moment meant the shopping. To you took it literally and meant everything. There's two different everythings, and she understood that. And
I think anybody that watched it would understand what was meant and what was supposed to go where.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. So she did acknowledge that. She understood that. She supported me on that particular point. So she was basically giving me the thumbs up from that. But as I say, the absolute reason, and this is what she was very clear about, the reason she was throwing it out was not because of that. It was simply because of the legal aspect. And the legal aspect was that there was no trust. There was no trust for her to judge on. So because there was no trust for her to judge on, there was no legal point for it to even be in court. And that's why she was dismissing it, because they hadn't proved the claim legally. There was nothing I'd done wrong legally. So, there was nothing she could do. They hadn't proved the claim. It was dismissed on those grounds.
Right. Well, I'm glad you won it anyway, Ranty. You should have done. TheTTguy says, to Ranty, my super chat reached the right person, lol. Thank you very much for the super chat, Toady.
Was that to me? He put my name in it.
As I read it, I thought, hold on a minute.
It says to Ranty.
What am I supposed to do with the money for this?
Yeah, but that says to Ranty. It doesn't say, try and get out of that one. If you take it literally, that to Ranty means it's to me, right?
I'm told I'm being a bit breathy on my mic. Is this any better? Maybe someone will tell me in the chat, and I'll see it in about 20 seconds. Anyway, we've got a clip now, actually, an appropriate one, because it seems that our old friend Sleepy is, as ever, undaunted even by his litigious failures. Here he is on Roxanne's Really Woke show, offering yet more crappy legal advice. Enjoy.
I think it's worth pointing out to people as well that this girl can be lip read. You can't really hear what she's saying because everyone's screaming and squawking. But you can lip read what she says, and she's saying, I don't understand. And the reason why she doesn't understand is because she's expressing her lawful human right to express her dissenting opinion. Or in this case, not necessarily dissenting, but nonetheless her opinion. There's no crime in going on a microphone or a walkie-talkie or a, what are they called, whatever they're called, megaphone. But that's what she was basically arrested for, because in the opinion of the police, she was considered to be a leader or an organizer. Now, what's interesting is there has to be a little disclaimer here, because I'm not cool with what the claim is with regards to this girl, because she says two things. One, that she doesn't know what she was arrested and charged for, but she does know that she was charged 500 quid. Now, the two key numbers that people are getting charged or fined for is 200 quid for coronavirus regs or 10 grand for organising. Now, you can hear the policeman saying that she's been arrested for being a leader. That leans towards being an organizer, so it should be a 10 grand fine. But she's claiming that it's a £500 fine. Now, I'm not happy with that, because that's not a number that anybody's getting quoted for being charged or fined. It should be either 200 or 10 grand. I don't know where the 500 quids come from, so that needs a bit of pinch of salt. But the other thing is as well, because she says that I don't understand, these cops are literally arresting her for being on the megaphone, regardless of the perception. That's what the crime is, being on the megaphone. They're saying that it's because it's organising. But again, Article 10, Article 9, Article 10, Article 11 state that you're allowed to assemble in Hyde Park. You're allowed to express your opinions. They're violating that human right based on legislation. Basically that legislation is not going to stand in court, because you can't violate somebody's human rights. However, she's been arrested for it, so she's been taken off the scene, and it's bang out of order. But the problem is the mainstream media are not covering this, so people aren't outraged by it. So the police are able to get away with basically unreported, undocumented, unbroadcast tyranny because mainstream media are keeping well away. How many more arrests do we need before the mainstream media pick up on this? But if they do pick up on it, are they going to present it in the light that it's like
they'll
truly
say you're an anti-masker or something like that. They'll say the lightest possible topic that they can pick and say it's that.
Yeah.
And if you are on a megaphone or speaking, it doesn't mean you're an organizer. It means you have a lot of passion about what you're speaking about. It doesn't mean anything.
It just means that you're expressing your opinion.
Equipment now. People are making it it's like the thing to have, isn't it? If you're going to protest, you have your own megaphone or you have your own equipment.
The problem is, though, most people are not au fait with the human rights and they don't realize what they can. They know that they can do this, but when it comes to it, they don't realize how to deal with it legally because they listen to people like me saying you've got the right to express your opinion. But when the police come and do what they do, even though what the police are doing is unlawfully legal, they then don't know how to deal with it because they say, well, someone told me that it was okay, and it is okay, but it doesn't stop the police from doing it. So on one hand, the police shouldn't be doing it, but on the other hand, they clearly are doing it. But you need to work out, or you need to understand how that gets dealt with. So it's a case of basically tell people that, yeah, you can get this expression of your opinions, but they may still arrest you anyway. And if they do, you need to know how to deal with it. Basically, just put them in touch with me and I'll tell them exactly how to do it. I'm doing it with some people now that have been arrested over the last few weeks that are finally the paperwork's coming through and we're working our way through it. But you're still going to go through a process that you need to understand how it works before you do get arrested, so that if you do get arrested, then you at least know how to deal with it. And basically, you bang your drum from day one. You got to keep banging that drum about your human rights, the freedom of association, the freedom of expression. Keep saying those words because the police can't do what they're doing, but they're doing it anyway.
Good old Sleepy in action there. He's going through people's court cases, apparently. I mean, oh my God. These are real people in real court charged with real crimes, with Riley helping them out. This is scary stuff.
He says some silly stuff. Like I can't believe that after all the recommendations and advice he's given, his now new recommendation is even though that stuff's legal, or even though it's illegal for the cops to be doing that, and you're within your right to fight against that, they can still do it to you. So, don't listen to me.
Right. But that's it. I mean, it's odd, really, that I don't know. I mean, it's like Riley's only just realised, that the police will, misbehave all the time. They don't always operate strictly lawfully. They often don't, in my view. And it's like Riley's only just realised.
Well, he's also not experienced enough to know that there's obvious, like there's what it says in the law for any, infraction or anything the cops can actually do to you. But there's obviously special cases and like, other circumstances that would maybe provide, might be a different law or different, technique that the police can use. And if you're not aware of all that kind of stuff, then you really are not in the position to be giving people advice, especially when they're going to act on it and end up in jail.
Because we heard Roxanne actually doing it at that protest the other Saturday, and she's going, "You're breaking the Human Rights Act. You're breaking Section 3 of doing all this stuff." And they were going, "Get out of the way. We've got a Section 3 order," or something that they got in place to. I mean, it was outrageous, actually, how the police behaved. I definitely agree with them there, though it was ridiculous. And they shouldn't just be rounding people up because they've got megaphones,
Can I ask you and Ranty a question then? Because I know I'm not an expert in law, of course, but I know in the States, precedence has a lot of power to it. So if something was ruled a certain way in the past, you can simply bring up that case.
Yes.
And okay, because that's what I'm saying though about the experience that Riley would need to have. He would have to look at all these special cases and look at maybe the fringe rulings that, like with this Human Rights Act, like look how it's ruled on, a whole world of cases to see, when it's appropriate to invoke that and when it's not.
Because you've got this unique set of circumstances going on at the moment, and that's how they're able to act in this way, because they're saying, hang the Human Rights Act, you're breaking this COVID-19 Act. So, you're in breach of that, and that's dangerous. That's a danger to society is the idea.
Right. I mean, that's one of the things I mean is, when there's an executive order or something like that, it's obviously going to be a special circumstance that can very easily override that. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why you can't, as you say, you would need to be able to find something comparable, wouldn't you? Some situation that was comparable in some way, maybe. I don't know, perhaps, what would that be? Maybe if there has been or was suspected there was going to be a terrorist incident and they moved people out the way for that or something like that, or a big fire or something, maybe.
Sure. And to see how people were dealt with in that situation. And obviously, because I know for 9/11, at least in America, the amount of laws that they changed, it allows for the kind of precedence that that says that when these circumstances had taken place, or now that there's a Patriot Act, these freedoms and privacy that you thought you had before may, it might be undercut by the Patriot Act. And so if you need to look for examples like that to see when you might be giving people wrong advice.
Right. And he hasn't done that. He's just found, I think it's Section 11 or something of the Human Rights Act. I don't know. Anyway, unless anybody else has got anything to say, I think we'll move on.
Well, before we move on, real quick, I think I just realized why Roxanne started crying. It was at that moment that the realization sunk in and it hit her that she was listening to Anthony Riley.
Yeah.
That her lawyer.
God, listen to that idiot.
His name is Sleeping Warrior, for God's sake.
Yeah, that was a terrible name. Yeah, go ahead, Ranty, yeah.
Or it might have been the realization that I actually did a really good job of dismissing her entire argument. And everything that Riley had produced for her didn't really work out. So at that moment, she realized, hang about a minute, maybe I was listening to the wrong person. Maybe I should have just stuck with Ranty, and he'd have helped me out, because Tony, he's just left me in shit the whole time.
She's never been an arguer, though, has she, Roxanne? She's always avoided any kind of debate. And I guess she got her hands full with you, where, you're used to presenting an argument, and you know what I mean? So,
well, it was the weight of evidence as well. I mean, it was like she had 10 points in a witness statement. And for every point that she had, I had 10 documents that disproved every one of them. Right. So it was and that was without even the legal point. That was just saying, this is your witness statement. Yeah, you lied. And then it got to the point of the whole case, which was, is there actually even a case? And of course there wasn't. And that was all down to Tony. So the judge quite clearly told everybody involved, 100%, to be in no denial whatsoever that it was the reason that she was chucking it out. So if Tony's going around saying that it was because of a word, that some semantics over words or something like that, that's not the case. It was thrown out primarily because of the fact that there was no trust agreement, and that's all down to Tony.
He did make some video on it, but it looks like he took it down, so I never even got to see it. I thought, I'll use that on the show. I never even got to download the damn thing, so I don't know what was in it. Never watched it or anything.
That's odd. I didn't even know about that, so news to me.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't up long. Anyway.
There's the transcripts I can get, though.
Oh, I'd love to see the transcripts, Ranty. That would be fun.
I could get a hold of a transcript. Give me a few weeks. I'll apply for it tomorrow, and let's see if we can get a transcript.
Yeah, I bet you can.
Is the judge yelling at Riley going to be in the transcript?
Oh, absolutely. I would think.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think everything would be in it, won't it? Every word spoken, I'd have thought.
Yeah,
She was fuming with him when that swear word came through his mic. Her demeanor and everything, and how she became like a super judge at that moment. I mean, she was not happy with Tony at that moment.
Right.
And when she told him to shut up, she didn't half scold him. I mean, she told him to shut up in about 6 different ways. It wasn't just one time to be shut up. She told him like 6 different ways of 6 different times of how you are going to shut up and not say another word.
Right.
It was like, it was so funny.
Oh, I bet that was epic. I bet it really was epic.
It was good. Right, I'm going on mute again.
All right, mate. Yeah, well, we're going to take the piss out of flat earthers now. So you're welcome.
Well, in that case, then I'll bid you all a farewell and enjoy the show. Enjoy your little trolling session, whatever you're going to do.
Yeah, we will.
And I'll leave you to it and have fun. Guys.
Take care, Ranty.
Thanks for coming on, Ranty. It's good to see you.
Take care.
See you, mate. Next, a quick clip of a flatty who made it onto our show before. Sifu Smo has been challenged to a debate. Take a look.
What's good, you dude? And this is Sifu Smo from Smo's Maracunaris, my expression of the martial art. And that will put hair on your ding dong or your nuts. Or if you're transgender, if you're tranny, it'll still put your hair in the nuts, on your nuts, but you'll still have boobies. Anyway, guys, so quick little video here. Sifu Smo, Dion Smo, aka martial artist versus half truther, the greatest flat dome earther, not flat earther, but dome earther on YouTube. Greatest martial arts on YouTube too, but I'm the greatest dome earther and flat earther on YouTube. And Sifu Smo has been challenged to another fucking debate. Sifu Smo has been challenged to another fucking debate. Another globehead who wants a casualty. What's this British bloke? What's this British bloke's name? Oh, you know, it's just funny. People like to debate me, you know. People just like to lose, I guess, because you're not going to beat me in a debate because I have too much insight and info. Your scientific facts isn't enough to beat me. So these motherfuckers want to challenge me in a debate. Well, you globeheads, man, are delusional as fuck, you know. You believe in this round Earth CGI NASA bullshit, man. You know. But that's why the Most High has put people like me to debunk the propaganda that was placed in front of us in the 1800s. This globe, where this globe came from, you know. Craig, the name of this guy is Craig McNeil, right? Craig McNeil says, "Oh, hello, Dion Smo. The earth is not flat. I want to challenge you to a flat earth debate." Well, Craig McNeil, I accept your challenge, and I am undefeated in debates, and I'm going to school you like I schooled McToon, MC Toon, you know, the scientist who drinks tab. I got my tab here. No, because this is a real man's drink. This is what real men drink, not tab. No wonder you think the goddamn Earth is a fucking globe. But hey, Craig McNeil, I will be happy to school you and enlighten you and your audience on what our Earth really is, and it's not this giant round sphere that spins 1,000 millions of miles an hour. No, we live on a flat foundation surrounded by a firmament, aka a dome. Flat foundation covered by the firmament. You know, you globe heads cannot debate me because I will school you guys every time. Craig McNeil, I'm ready. Hello, matey.
And that was Sifu Smo, who I don't think realised that Craig McNeil is, of course, Fight the Flat Earth.
Right.
I'm not sure if you realised that or not.
No, I don't think he did. I don't think there's many things you can see that he has realized.
Right.
Especially maybe that he's balding. I think the bandanas don't hide, balding heads. He might want to trim his hair or something like that. But yeah, I was just gonna say, Craig or Fight the Flat Earth, he really does search for the lowest hanging fruit.
He really
what
does.
Coward, man. No offense, I'm just saying this. I'm not a fan of his, and I mean, there's much more formidable people to be debating than the people he chooses.
Yeah, I think they all like to go for these because I think, I mean, I don't know. I'm sort of in two minds about it because ultimately I've just taken this guy and used him for the same reason, the same thing really that Craig's going to use him for. Do you know what I mean?
But that's not entirely true.
Well,
he's putting Fight the Flat Earth is almost like challenging him to a debate where they're supposed to see who best the other person kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't think I think we're showcasing something that's a little different.
Yeah, I sort of don't blame those guys for going for the people who they think are gonna provide the biggest shit show, because ultimately that is their bread and butter.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think that's what I would do if I was them. I would. And as I say, in a sense, I am doing that at least to an extent. Everett Anderson says he's got a Schmo video coming up. And Everett Anderson's link, as always, is in the description. And if you want sub to him, you should sub to him. Because he is the greatest at what we're doing right now. And he does it almost every day.
He is great.
There, that's given him some work to do. He'll have to up his output, and I will steal it. So
I feel like Curve was trying to say something. I don't want to cut him off.
I'm sorry, Curve. Yes, please go ahead.
No, I mean, it's obvious what that headband is there to do, and he's not doing it properly.
I agree.
Right past it. I mean, if you're trying to cover your bald spot and that thin little patch of hair that's still in the balding zone, then put the damn bandana over it. Don't drop it down to your eyebrows and leave that exposed and keep tilting your head down. If he doesn't know that, how can we trust him on the shape of the earth?
Or, if you're in America, you can just wear a baseball hat all the time. It's just allowed. I mean, David Weiss... I'd been following Flat Earth and seen David Weiss. Maybe I must have seen him on about 50 shows and probably been following Flat Earth for a year before I saw him without his baseball hat. And, he's got very little hair left as David Weiss. And I was stunned. It totally changed his look. It made him look so much older. But yeah, just stick a hat on.
Yeah, or go Bret Michaels style. Bret Michaels, the singer of Poison, who always is wearing a bandana, but he wears it properly if you're trying to hide a bald spot. Like he puts it up over his head, so it's hiding your actual hair.
Kind of makes sense, I guess. All right, let's crack on. Another newbie flatty now. The somewhat scary-looking Dean Wright has some strong words for us all, so pay attention.
Hello and welcome to the Dean Wright and the Ball Earth is Bullshit channel show. My idea on what's happening here is that the false reality that's been given to us, being in space, spinning, gravity, living on a ball, all this nonsense, this false reality has taken a lot of work from the powers that be to get us locked in to this false reality. And the flat earth is the key that opens the door to the true reality. Because once the flat earth truth becomes common knowledge, because if the truth of our true reality came out, everything would change. We would have to rethink everything. And our controllers will do anything to stop the truth of our flat reality getting out, because it changes everything I've written here. And if that means injecting us with a vaccine that stops us thinking, which is chromosome 8, which is going to diminish our intelligence and breaks down our immune system, which makes us dependent. They want us like a drug addict, basically. They want us, we're going to get sick. Once we've taken this vaccine, we're going to get sick all the time. And we're going to need the vaccine to stay healthy. This is what they want for the future. And to lock us into an AI system that will completely control us mentally, physically, and spiritually. In Great Britain and across the west of the world, the Hunger Games scenario is coming about, and it's taking shape. Regional mayors in Leeds, London, Manchester, and across Great Britain as well, and places, and America, are going to be given more powers and more fiscal control over their cities. They want self-governing regions. And the same's going to be happening in Australia. Apparently what they want to break Victoria and New South Wales and all that and call them cantons, which is Chinese name for these regions. Cantons, and they'll be self-governed. So the communist socialist system is coming in to Australia already. The Chinese have taken over, going to come and take over Australia. They're going to have the same system in place, and it's eventually going to come here. But they're going to try it out in Australia, New Zealand, and Canada first. They're the trialist places to just see how fucking horrible they can be to people and what they can get away with. Right, the regions being self-governed are a real evolution of our devolved country, and the coronavirus hoax has been the pivotal excuse for these changes. Yeah, more control, track and trace, social credit scores, and an AI system. This is socialism starting to take control of our lives. The communist state control is on its way. And that's what's happening right now. You know, and you've got the government-controlled channels, like the Flat Earth, Simon Dan, like I said last week. They're paid trolls who try and keep the Ball Earth nonsense rolling along, making sure that they're educating young kids, shaping their minds and their reality. That's what they're doing. The Flat Earth will change everything in our world. And I'm going to do everything I can to get the truth out there, because we deserve it. All of us. Mankind, womankind, everybody. The truth shall set us free. And it will.
That was Dean Wright of the Dean Wright Show. And I guess what scares me most about Dean Wright is he must live very close to me. I can tell from his accent.
Well, you might be able to catch his show sometime, because he looks like he does it from his car.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always a bit worrying, isn't it? Omnieris, I'm a fan of Omnieris. He says that that's a sign that they're mad. if they do all their vlogs from their car.
I think I think it's a sign that they're not comfortable doing it inside their house because maybe somebody lives there. I think what makes him mad is he puts on a suit and then sits in his car.
Right.
I think that's what makes him mad. He's got this like nice jacket on. He has like a teleprompter basically, where he's written down what he's going to say, and he sits in his car and reads it.
But he's sort of aggressive, isn't he, in the way he speaks? You know, he's sort of like English Dell.
Oh yeah. I said in the chat he looks like Jason Statham's older brother.
Right.
Because I've said in the past too that he kind of looks like that, like that kind of guy that they cast as a hitman in a movie or something like that.
I'm getting a little echo off you, by the way, Coach, I think.
Okay, let me turn down my speakers.
Just a little bit. Yeah, so, I mean, what's this stuff about cantons? I mean, that can't be true, surely.
No, and I was trying to catch. I'm sorry, I think Curve was going to say something.
Yeah, go ahead, Curve.
No, it was just about the Canton thing. Just go ahead, Kosha.
Well, no, I was trying to catch where he actually was, because it seemed like he was. I couldn't tell if he had written something for himself to say or if he was reading some news that he had gotten from somewhere else. And
no, he had written. It was his own words that he'd written out. I kind of edited the bit out where he said that, but yeah, it was
okay.
He'd written it down what he wanted to say.
Yeah, because I'm curious myself where he's getting this stuff from about the regions and the what do you say, like the Hunger Games. He's like just read the Hunger Games and it's going to be just like the book.
Right. There's Australians here in the chat. Do they know anything about this changing of regions, splitting up of they're called states, aren't they? They call them states, don't they? Yes, in Australia.
I believe so. I know that Becky is in the chat. I can see her. And
Digital Demonic Davros, who's
there you go. So you got both sides of it, because I know that
who helped pay for the PC that I'm delivering the show on right now.
Yeah, shout out to Davros.
Yeah. I finally built my new PC. Yay! So, yeah. So, what were you going to say, Curve? Did you have anything to say about Dean? Oh yes. No.
I was on another page. I couldn't get to my mic. No, one thing I was wondering, real quick, have you seen any other clips of him? Does he continuously have the back seat down in that like little SUV type vehicle with a blanket spread out back there and some sort of a yellow is that a sex toy? I'm not sure.
Jesus.
It's amazing what you managed to see, Curb. I'm not sure if I spotted all of those details myself.
Yeah, I stopped myself from commenting on the back seat because to me it would seem like it could be more depressing than even what we're saying. But yeah, Curve definitely made it much funnier than what I was suspecting.
I'm not saying he lives there.
It's kind of sad and kind of indicative, I think, of a few conspiracies, a few modern conspiracies. The idea that there will be this point of conclusion where everything will change and the bad stuff will go away. So, you know, I think that was in the sort of Nibiru, Planet X. I think Flat Earth offers it. You know, as he was saying, you know, eventually it's all going to be revealed and Flat Earth will change everything. QAnon obviously offers this great awakening. You know, so, you know, I think this is a sort of almost an essential constituent part of a popular conspiracy.
Yeah, and you're right. That definitely that is common throughout them all. Although I kind of missed where I didn't see the bright side of what he was talking about. It sounded like he was just talking about the doom that's to come.
Right.
Yeah, but that is usually that's a common thread, is that there's a doom that's going to come. There's something good that's going to happen afterwards. They're gonna, or maybe the truth's going to come out, and that's the good.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be the arbiters of
and it's all very biblical, isn't it? You know, it's a reflection of that. It's that same story retold in a sort of modern context, isn't it? of all the plagues, and we're in Revelations now, aren't we? I guess.
Sure, it's almost good news that turns out that's not going to happen. So
yeah.
We're already set. We're already at the good part.
Right. Okay, let's have another clip. Popping through them. When it comes to street activism, there are few flatties who have been more active than Jason of the Disbury family. Yesterday, he was out again in London on an anti-mask, anti-lockdown, anti-anything on the internet protest. And to get his point across, he has a new mechanic. Take a look at this ridiculous shit.
I'm here at Marble Arch, and I've got this as my setup. Now this is very different. What it consists of is we have a roulette wheel, and we have a game of life and death, a game of chance. It's all about probability, this is. So what are the chances, guys? What are the chances of being struck down by a virus? Okay, so of all the things to die of, heart disease, that's number one. There you go, heart disease, number one. Chronic lower respiratory disease is number two. Stroke and other cerebrovascular diseases. Boy, that's a big one to pronounce. Lung cancer, there's a lot of cancers. Boris, he went on the wheel of life and death. That's what Boris did. And then what happened was, he threw that ball in on the roulette, and he got a virus. He got a 0. That's what he got. He could have been run over by a bus. An aeroplane could have landed on his house, but no, he got struck down by a virus. Okay, so which virus did he get? If there's 7,000 recorded viruses, there you go, 7,000 recorded viruses, all different types. Marburg being at number one, Ebola, rabies, HIV, smallpox. These are all viruses. So Boris, in the wheel of life and death, this is what happened. Okay? So he span that ball, and what did he get? He span it, and boy, what are the odds of him getting another 0? He could have got Ebola, he could have got rabies, he could have got smallpox, he could have got influenza, but he span that roulette table, and he got a 0. That's what he got. And then we get on to the next one. Now, what are the odds to get 3 zeros in a row? What do you think, guys? So here, there is 100 variants to the coronavirus. 100 different variants of the coronavirus family. 100. I can only put 36 on my board, but there's 100 different variants. There's 30 different strains. I don't know what mutants are. I haven't done no research on that, but you guys can do that. But there's 100 different variants. So what are the odds that Boris, with his PCR fake test, he went on and he threw that ball in and he got himself another 0? And what are the odds to it? 3 zeros in a row. Well, I don't know about you guys. I'm not having it. I'm not buying it. I haven't got not one bloody 0. And if anyone wants to go on my wheel of life and death, I'm willing to give £100 to prove it, that you don't get 3 zeros in a row. You may get 1 0, that's £1. You might get 2 zeros, I'll give £10. But are you kidding me? Boris and Trump and Hanks and all the other idiots, all of these so-called celebrities, they did not get 3 zeros. It's vitally important to understand through sheer probability no one's getting COVID-19.
That is so ridiculous. It's just not true. I don't know how many things he misunderstands in that few minutes, but an awful lot.
That was going to be my main point. Is it would take for the rest of the show to dissect how many different ways this guy could be wrong about so many different things. It wasn't to the end of the video, at the end of the clip though, that I started to think though, he's wrong about everything he says. Doesn't know anything about probability. Okay. Right. But at the same time, I can't help but think that this technique of to make people aware of whatever it is, replace COVID with whatever. It's not a very it's kind of a clever way of getting people's attention.
Well,
you know what I mean?
The attention it will get will probably be the police who will arrest him because it's entirely illegal as well. It would be unlicensed gambling, and you just can't do that.
It might be different in the States then, because like giving away money is not the same thing as gambling over here. But yeah, I don't understand the laws there, so it could be.
Yeah, but it is a game of chance, as he said, and you can't have that. You just can't. Okay. There's very strict rules on it. When I worked in a nightclub, we often used to give some thing, a holiday in Australia away, or a car at one point, or give something away, and often a way to do this was just to get people to fill a form in, and you'd stick those in a hat and you gather their data at the same time, so you'd do that and you'd pull a name out of the hat, and you'd get this person up on the stage or whatever, but you always had to ask them a question. And we would always have like a really dumb question. Usually it was, whatever the product was that we were promoting, we would say, what is their slogan? What's their tagline that they use? And of course that would be plastered on posters and things all over the club. The right. DJ will have probably said it 50 times before that point, probably, even just a few seconds ago. So they're going to be able to answer the question, but you have to ask them a question. Because then it's not a game of chance. Then it's a game of skill. And so there's very strict rules on this. And he would be in trouble, I think, for that. Well,
like I said, I don't even want to say that I'm below Riley when it comes to the law, but probably not. But either way, I'm not an expert. I was looking into it when I was making an app regarding lottery. And right. Over here, if you can be classified as a sweepstakes, that's one way to get around it, but I'm not sure what that includes. Right. And I don't think like a street roulette game will fall under that.
Right. You're right. There is some sort of separate ruling on those. Mm-hmm. So I know, like if you buy if you have a raffle ticket here,
right,
it has to have a value. So, like, for instance, the thing, sometimes we would do that in the club. We'd just give raffle tickets out, but it would say on the raffle ticket a value. This has a value of, it was like 0.001p or something like that.
Oh, but that's what it is. Okay, makes sense.
It always had a value on it, I guess.
Okay. Well, regardless, like I said, we try to dissect this guy's bullshit, and
yes, we digress.
It would take a millennia, because I don't understand why he's the numbers he's using, and then he gets to the third one. He says, "Okay, you have Corona, but which Corona do you have?" Like, what the? Right. That for? Of course, you have the Corona that we're dealing with.
Right. It was nutty, wasn't it? But like you say, I think people will, if a copper doesn't clock it, which they're a bit thick and they maybe won't, but I don't know, I think they probably would. But I think people might have a bit of fun with it at least. But
yeah, right.
I think he'll find he gets a few arguments about probabilities have no memory and all the, the myriad of things, as you say, that you could sort of pull him up on in that process would be, we'll see how it plays out. He was very proud of it as well, because he wasn't actually using it that day. He was going on the march, but he got all that shit out and set all that up just so he could show it on his YouTube channel.
That's pretty funny. But again, it's not entirely like I can make fun of it all day, but at the same time, there is some strategy there, right? Because he really just wants he just wants to get the message out, and so if you're doing it in some way and people are going to be at least interested in listening to you for a second, then at least you had the opportunity to do that. Although it's a very stupid message, Right. But still,
it's just I don't know. I guess I'm just inherently lazy, because I see, I saw this on that European tour they did a bit, and this is another example of it where he got all that stuff, that table and all that crap, and he'd got like some sort of, like one of those kids pull along trolley things.
Yeah.
Like got one of those to stick it on, and then he's going on this march around London with that. I mean, do you know what I mean? Jesus Christ! I mean, talk about giving yourself a lot of work to do. You know what I mean? I wouldn't. I'd be like, fuck that, Jesus.
It makes you think how committed to
right
they believe. They believe it to the point where they feel like it's worth this much work or that much work or whatever.
Right, Jesus, not me. too lazy for that kind of activism. What do you think, Curved?
I think Jason's going to be in for a world of hurt once Rumpus finds out about this.
Yes.
Rumpus can take his roulette beating system right down there to his table and make him eat his words.
That's right, because Rumpus has a winning strategy for roulette, doesn't he? What is Rumpus's winning strategy, Curve?
You don't have to predict the future. You just have to recognize when you're in the streak.
Right.
What?
Well, streaks are going to happen. Random number generators verify that streaks happen. You just have to recognize when you're in it, and that's when you bet big.
That's something that's possible to do?
No, that's what Rumpus said.
No.
It was. I don't think he'd really come across roulette before, had he? Just basically saying what you need to do is bet on the winning numbers. You need to bet on the number that wins. That's the way to succeed, and don't bet on the ones that lose.
Right, but you don't have to be able to predict the future to do this. You just have to. I mean, it's enough to just say no, like you have a feeling or something. I mean, that's probably the most honest thing about that strategy. Is just like when you have a feeling and you're on the streak. But no one, like I said, no one's gonna. There aren't things that you can know.
Right.
That's not the point.
It's a cruel mistress, is roulette.
Sure. Like I said, I'm a craps guy myself, but I did the numbers while it was playing too, and technically, if 50,000 people were to, entertain this idea, and they come up and they spin the wheel 3 times, technically, one of those people, at least probability says that one of those people would actually win his $100.
Right. I've seen 3 zeros come up before.
In a row?
Yeah, I've seen 2 zeros more than once. But I did see 3 zeros once.
Oh, wow.
I know, that was fucking unbelievable.
Actually, that's not that. Cause I've seen 3 snake eyes in a row, and that's actually the same probability.
Yeah, it's yeah. Although it wasn't too bad actually, because when you play online on some of the online casinos, if on a 0, sometimes it gives you half your stake back. So it's not such a killer.
Oh, right.
Not always, not on all of them, but some of them do that.
Yeah, it doesn't seem advantageous for the house in that case.
No, well, they've still got an edge, haven't they? Still.
Yeah, roulette. No offense to roulette fans out there, but roulette is one of the least favorable games for the player.
Yeah, They say that. I like it. I like to play it because it's sort of mindless. You know what I mean? You haven't really got to think. You know.
Yeah, outside of craps, it's probably the most fun that at the table or whatever. It's got the ball, it's got the wheel, and so it's fun, but at the same time, because I liked it growing up as a kid, but when I actually learned the actual probabilities and stuff, I'm like, okay, no.
Yeah.
Plus, I've lost $500. A friend let me borrow because I lost my money on a casino boat. It's a very quick story, but I lost all my money. And then he asked me, he's like, do you want me to borrow some money just while you're here? Because we can't leave the boat. And so I was like, sure. And I got $500 from him. And I immediately went and put it on black, like without even thinking about it. And it immediately came up red. So,
God, bummer. Bummer. Like I say, it's a cruel mistress. The first time I played, actually, was when I'd won some money on the Grand National, which is a horse race here, which kind of like everyone has a bet on. You know, it's kind of traditional. And I had a little bet on it, and my horse came in second. It was an each-way bet. So my £10 became £18. And I thought, what shall I do with this? I know, I'll take it to this casino on the same site that they've tempted me with. So I went, and I stuck it on roulette. And when you went in there, they got one of these offers, you know, where you stick so much in and they double your money or whatever. So I thought, So I thought, I'll do that. So I took this money. And then, you know, I won a little bit. And I thought, right, I'm going to take this out now. And then it said, you can't take it out because you took our offer. You've got to, there's all these rules. You've got to bet like 9 times I can't remember. It's loads of money that you have to do. So then I thought, well, bloody hell, I'm just going to lose this then anyway. I'm never going to bet that amount. So I went back in and started making really big bets. Well, not big bets, but much bigger bets. So I'd been betting like 50p's and pounds, and I went back in and started betting fivers. And I just kept winning.
Wow.
And before I knew it, the whole weekend had gone past. And this £18 had become £300.
Wow.
I know. I couldn't believe it. And then I'd bet through this stake thing, and I was able to take the money out. So it was great. So that memory has tempted me to play, several times since, and I've never done that well.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't expect you.
The casino has taken back way more than that from me since.
Well, I'm glad you followed my depressing story with that heartwarming story of
right.
You started with much less. You started with 10.
Yeah.
And got upset.
Yeah.
That was all on roulette.
Yeah, all on roulette. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get on with it because we've been rambling on a bit. Next, we cross the big pond for yet another protest. Here is Queen Ainana, I think she's called that, to tell us more.
I am in Red Bluff, California. 727 Oak Street is where today's protest against mandatory vaccinations will take place in about an hour. So I'm really excited to see what happens and meet all of the people who come out to be seen, to make a scene, to let their voices be heard. detoxing them because they're poison. Thanks. Have a good... Thank you. I actually had a really great time out there with my sign and was able to raise a lot of awareness in the community. If I hadn't gone down there, no one from Red Bluff would even know what was going on besides for the nurses.
And that was Queen Ainana. Why can't I say her name? Queen Ainana. Anyway, something like that. Having a really rather not very successful protest, I thought.
No, you know, I actually I stopped watching her videos, but I used to love her.
How'd you say her name?
I don't ever. I don't know. I don't know. Her name, to be honest. I've subbed to her, but I don't know. I don't even remember what her channel's called, to be honest. Let me check actually. But regardless of that, I only subbed to her because she's a huge tease. I don't know if you've ever seen her thumbnails. I haven't seen the thumbnail for this video she posted, but she's naked in all of them. She just gets naked, does a thumbnail, and you're like, okay, let's see what's going on here. And then she's wearing clothes in the video. And you're like...
She does a lot of costume changes, I've noticed.
Yeah, she does that too. She does a lot of, she talks a lot about witchcraft, and she talks about flat earth. So she talks about a lot of different stuff. And to be honest with you, to be absolutely honest with you, I could see myself dating this person because I've dated people crazier than she is, and
but isn't it true, Kosho? You could see yourself dating almost every woman. Wouldn't that be true?
That's not entirely true, but there's some truth in that. But yeah, that was funny. Of course, that was funny as hell. Whenever she's fighting the stranger, then she's telling her she's got nice shoes.
That's hilarious, wasn't it? Just
yeah,
love your boots. But it was a bit of a shame that no one turned up. She said she was looking forward to meeting all the people, and it was just her. And she looked a bit silly on her own, I thought.
Yeah, it looked a little confusing too. And when the video first started, she's holding the sign and she's walking like a hooker. She was like, a hooker.
She was, wasn't she? Yeah. Or like one of those, when they have a boxing match and they have the girls that come on with the numbers for the, for the round, Yeah,
the ring girls.
Yeah. Curved, what do you reckon? I bet you liked her, didn't you?
Oh, I'm sitting here pushing push to talk, waiting to hear the sound activate. Anyway, yeah, Inanna, I assume that's her name? I-N-A-N-N-A?
Yes, yeah.
That's an ancient Mesopotamian goddess associated with love, beauty, sex, war, justice, and political power. She was originally worshipped in Sumer under the name Inanna and was later worshipped by the Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians under the name Ishtar. Greek equivalent would have been Aphrodite or Athena. That's probably why you want to bang her.
That makes so much sense now.
We're not going to talk about the one woman on the internet that you do not want to have sex with. We're not going to bring that up right now.
Oh, who is that?
I can't tell you.
Oh, okay.
That would be rude. It would be very, very wrong for me to actually say right now. I should never, because it's a joke. And
I think I know exactly who you're talking about.
But yeah, it would not be taken as a joke, so it needs to not be talked about anymore. Yeah, that Inanna, she's something.
Yeah, she is quite a character, isn't she? And brave, I thought, to go out there with a sign.
I like her yelling at the vehicle that's a half a mile down the road by that time.
Right.
That it passed her. I like that.
Anyway, how are we doing for time? Oh, good. We've got time. So,
I didn't get to say one thing from a long time ago, okay? This is from a long time ago, but
okay.
in Schmo's clip, I don't know if you picked this up, but he took a sip of the Corona, and he's like wincing, and he's like, what does he say? He says, this will put hair on your chest or something. He's drinking a regular Corona.
Right. Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Actually, there was something I noticed in that clip that I meant to mention. I'm sure at the start of it, he calls himself a half-truther. Did anyone else hear that? I'm sure that's what he says.
Yeah, he's making us half breeds look bad.
I missed that.
Shall we go back?
Yeah, that was weak. I mean, that reaction, like you had just, taken a good shot of whiskey.
Yeah.
Or grain alcohol and acted like that with a little swig of Corona. That's soft. I'll debate that.
Yeah. Unless he was doing what I do because sometimes I'll go to the club or the bar back in the day, and I would order a beer, but I would have like tequila like in a flask somewhere, and I'd pour some in there, and that, I mean, even that's not going to make you wince or whatever, but I don't think he was doing that. I think he was drinking a regular 5% Corona and really couldn't take it.
Yes. I wonder if Corona sales have gone up or down since, the virus.
It's probably mixed. I know I had bought some at one point after this had happened, but I remember immediately after this became like a big pandemic or whatever, it did go down at that point.
Right. You seem to see it a lot. I've seen it in a few things. Anyway, and now to Flatoberfest, the only significant Flat Earth event this year, with the usual suspects blabbing the same old Flat Earth crap, including, of course, Mark Sargent, who has finally written a new speech. Here he is in action.
It's the energy, right? This is what it's all about, getting everybody together in the same room and everybody's electromagnetic field being able to touch other people's electromagnetic field. That's right. Because that's what we need. We need human, energetic, face-to-face interaction. That's what this is about. Okay. Right on. Did you guys listen to the song
quality
I
of this
just played?
is crap, by the way.
Did you like it? Yeah. This is a spiritual war. Does anybody disagree with that? No, this is a spiritual war. And at the end of that song, she says, we need our shields and our swords. That's right. Okay. Everybody here is going to leave fully armed with a shield and sword today. Okay? That's what's happening, because your electromagnetic field is going to be fully charged and ready to go. That's your shield. And the sword is you knowing that each and every one of you is divine. You're a co-creator, and we are going to co-create greatness today, and that is your sword. Okay? Yeah. Do you hear that?
All right. It's called Did Flat Earth Polarize the World? Some of you will remember that in 2015, I predicted a very small percentage of people wouldn't be able to process the new Flat Earth worldview. The concept would be too much for them and they would overload. I thought they might have some sort of mental break that would send them into a downward spiral, never to recover. I kept waiting for that unlucky flat earther who would eventually snap and drive their car into a shopping mall or crash a blimp into a stadium, all the while screaming, "Long live flat Earth." I was wrong. It never happened. There wasn't even an incident where a flat Earth member resorted to violence of any kind. It seemed that there was no downside to this mind-opening concept. We were the perfect drug. We were just one large, enlightened, happy family, like you good people right here. Right. That kind of optimistic thinking was, of course, naive. Everything that we do as a civilization has side effects, and Flat Earth was no different. What could possibly go wrong? as we spread the good word of Flat Earth to the millions of people who were willing to listen. And spread we did through all countries and languages. We were featured in magazines, newspapers, radio, television, and of course, every corner of the massive machine that is social media. Of these, the most influential was, as you know, the Goliath YouTube, the largest television network in the world, whether or not they decide to recognize it. We went everywhere, and so you can imagine if there were side effects to what we've done, they would also be everywhere. Our topic fed the media appetites for the last 5 years, with 2019 being our biggest footprint to date. Jimmy Kimmel even sent a team to punk our Dallas conference. How many people were at the Dallas conference last year? Yeah. Raise your hands. Wow, not that many compared to a lot of people who first timers, hands. Wow, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, Flat Earth is dead. R.I.P. Case closed. You guys are scaring me. It doesn't get more mainstream than that. We were a tidal wave of change with no negative repercussions. But now, in 2020, as some of you have noted, things are different. We planted seeds in the minds of so many, and this year unleashed the reaping. You see, when you introduce the most polarizing topic into the world and everyone is exposed to it, then everything it touches can also become polarized. Look at where you are right now. Seriously. You are sitting in a United States Flat Earth conference. You're sitting next to hundreds of your peers. In fact, do I see a mask in almost all of you? Is there a mask? Anyone wearing a mask in this place? Not a single mask in this entire place. Good for you. Oh, so wonderful. And this place, right, you're at a Flat Earth conference, and this place is an oasis of sanity. Amen. An island of calm in the eye of the storm. A storm that you helped create. Outside of this room, there is a class war disguised as a race war. Inside a political nightmare, and all of this is surrounded by a human rights apocalypse masked as a virus. Notice I said mask and virus, the same sentence? Anybody? That's clever right there. And every aspect of these topics is now hyper-polarized. If you're not rich, then you're poor. If you're not for BLM, you are against it. If you are red team, then you hate the blue team, and vice versa. If you aren't wearing a mask, then you might as well be a terrorist. We decided to change the world, and without knowing it, helped draw all the current lines in the sand. But all of this is, of course, delusional, right? Well, to be honest, we did have help. The powers that be noticed us back in 2015 and accelerated the process. Did we catch them off guard, or was this all part of the plan? And if this was planned, did we alter their timetables? Did we inadvertently start a Cold War with the hidden rulers of the world? Sounds ominous. Everything I am saying right now is madness. You are obviously sitting in a room full of lunatics. Oh yeah. No. Show it. The real madness was when YouTube removed its search scoreboard so that we would stop cheering at it. And when the US government decided to address the Flat Earth problem on television with the media titans. In 2020, a brand new documentary called The Social Dilemma, I recommend it highly, labeled Flat Earth as the worst example of fake news and a possible threat to civilization itself. I half expect time travelers from the future to show up here in South Kakalaki, looking for the army of the 12 monkeys and instead finding us. Just a positive group of like minds who want to change the system and build a better world. To mainstream media, I'll save you the trouble. If you are looking for someone to blame, blame us. We did this. For better or worse, well, you're welcome. Regardless of what happens for the rest of the year and moving forward, this idea, your idea, is out there. It's a genie that cannot be put back into the bottle, even if you wanted to. In closing, which means think about your questions, because they'll be over there. Consider this. Everything is changing right now, and each and every one of you can claim responsibility for it. Take some pride and comfort in that fact. While you're here, listen, learn, and teach each other what you know. The future may be uncertain, but it is yours to claim. The globe is dead. Long live Flat Earth. Thank you. All right.
And that was Mark Sargent. Apparently, they caused this.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, I did agree with a few things he said.
Oh no, surely not.
Well, first of all, the first two things I agree with. He said everything I'm saying is madness.
Oh right, yes.
Everyone in this room is a lunatic.
Yes.
I agree with that. But also, he did say he brought up a documentary on Netflix that I thought I would promote as well, because
The Social Dilemma. Yeah, I've not seen that.
it's not bad. It's actually good. It's actually it's a bunch of insiders from Silicon Valley, so they work at YouTube, Twitter, these kind of places,
Right.
and they are really kind of talking about the real consequences of the way in which we interact with social media and stuff like that. And it talks about it also at the same time it's a documentary and it's playing like a fictional storyline at the same time. And there's a kid who kind of through social media becomes an activist for like a flat earth type movement.
Right.
So yeah, I mean,
that does
it's
sound
pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So someone from YouTube also kind of took like for representing YouTube, kind of collectively took responsibility for the flat earth movement entirely.
Right.
I think it's interesting. Yeah.
What do you reckon, Curved?
I miss Nathan Thompson.
Oh well, he's next.
Oh, we won't talk about that then. I want to thank Mark Sargent and all of the lunatics in that room for pushing the timeline up from the powers that be, as they put it.
Yeah.
It's wonderful what's happened as a result of their
Yes, thank you, Mark Sargent, for causing a global pandemic. That's great. Thanks.
He's already said you're welcome, guys.
Hey, did Witzik go to this thing?
Yes.
Is that why he had to go to the airport?
Yep, that's where he was going, yeah.
Tennessee to South Carolina, and he needed an airplane.
Well, I don't know how far that is.
Oh, it's not that far.
When I was working in South Carolina in the Navy, we were out. Our hotel was right outside this, like, I guess, strip club that's huge in the South. I really wouldn't know why it's the biggest, but there was girls working there that had to drive from Tennessee every day. So it's close enough that they can do that.
Wow. What if he lives in the most distant part of Tennessee, and the conference was held in well, it wasn't really a conference, but it was held in the most distant part of South Carolina from Tennessee. Would you then need a plane?
It might help, but where was it in South Carolina? Do you remember the city?
I don't, to be honest, no. I could find out.
Let me see. I think it says it at the bottom of the.
Oh, Greenville, right?
Greenville, that sounds right.
I know where Greenville, North Carolina is, but I don't know about Greenville, South Carolina. I'm not going to look it up. It doesn't matter.
That's no good. No, it really doesn't matter, does it? So, so what do you reckon? I mean, I thought it was interesting when he said who was at the Dallas conference or whatever, and there weren't many, and then he said, who's first timer? And almost all of them put their hand up. There was loads of them that were new. And a couple of them I heard speaking who asked questions, and there was some interviews done that we'll see in a minute, or I'll see a little bit of in a minute. And, you know, a lot of them were new. I've been in it 8 months. I've been in it a year. You know, there was a lot of that.
Do you know how much this one cost, like for a ticket?
I think it was $70 off the top of my head.
$70? Holy hell, dude!
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was interesting because I think last year because it was Karen B that organises this, and I think last year it was like $20.
Yeah, exactly.
And the idea was that this was the flat Earth thing that didn't cost a lot of money, that you didn't need a lot of money to do, you know. And I did think that was interesting that it had, in a year, it had gone from $20 to $70, you know. But I don't know. I mean, these things aren't, you know, there is a cost, isn't there, to putting something like this on, you know.
$70 bucks. No bumper cars, no roller coasters, nothing.
Yeah. Just listening to Karen B on stage. It seems like they were probably just capitalizing on the fact that there wasn't like a conference, and so, you know, figuring that people like Witsit would actually fly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think when she planned it, she didn't know there wasn't any conferences then. Well, maybe she did actually. She might have done, but I think she was, you know, she did it last year anyway, didn't she? So she was bound to do another. But I think we'll probably see this maybe become the conference next year. I mean, I said this at the time, you know, last year. I said I thought if anyone was going to take the conference idea forward, it would be her. And
yeah, you did say that.
and she's this isn't quite the scale of what Robbie Davidson did, but it's getting that way, isn't it? You know, I think they were saying there was about 300 there or something like that.
Oh, what? This 300 people. Like, imagine that's like what is it, $2,100? That's not right. I gotta do some math in a little bit. But regardless, because that can't be 21,000. She could have made 21,000 from doing this.
300 times 70 is 21 grand.
Yeah.
Holy hell!
But she's got the venue to pay for. There was the sound system, wasn't there, and video projector thing that probably, you know, that even if it's part of the hotel, there'll be an extra charge for using it.
Still though, like, what do you think is the maximum a hotel outside of Vegas is going to charge?
And there was some catering. We'll sort of hear in a minute. They got like this sort of noodle bar thing outside. But I don't know whether people were probably paying for that as they got it. I don't know whether that was included in the price. That.
Holy hell!
But they,
you know, do you remember the last year when they were at a venue that was, I think, owned by a flat earther, wasn't it? Wasn't it called the Firmament or something?
Oh right, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, they should have. I mean, at least that would have been, you know, topical or something. I'm really curious on what. Because also, you know what? Didn't they also get like $50,000 for the Lake Balaton test or something like that? 50,000 or 25,000 or some huge amount of money to do that?
I don't know. I'm not sure, but I think wasn't that the first big one they did after they started FE Core?
Yeah, that was just FE Core funds that financed it, but they didn't get money specifically for Balaton that I'm aware of.
Right.
Oh, okay. That's what I heard.
A certain cost for like the laser rail, like the platform thing that they paid it for, and the rental of the laser, I think.
Right.
That may have added up to something along those lines.
Right.
Still,
but they wouldn't pay for Sheeple's transportation, which is really going to make me mad if it turns out that they bought its airplane ticket.
Oh, I forgot he's in.
Mad.
Wait, is he in FE Core or is he's in Glowbusters?
Yeah, no, this little rinky-dink thing here. If they paid for his plane flight, but anyway, it was really poor quality video that they shot on the partially dehydrated potato there. But in the beginning, when I was watching Karen B, I was definitely getting like a reptilian vibe from her. Did you notice that? No, just me.
I was grateful it was bad quality, to be honest.
Yeah, sorry about that. They live streamed it, and they just streamed it at low quality, and you know it was only yesterday, and I had to get it edited and everything, so I had to go with what there was. So that was that.
Oh yeah, it's not your fault; it's theirs.
And I'm being honest, I really was grateful.
Yeah, and of course she was talking about a spiritual war, and it's always with her. It's always sort of thinly veiled Christianity. And I know she's not like a fundy Christian or anything, but it's sort of always there in the background somewhere, you know, some sort of flavor of it, you know.
We need to get together as Globers and use our swords and shields or electromagnetic fields and and well, I don't know.
She totally bought into that Amanda Vollmer crap, didn't she, about your heart field and all that. Just totally bought into it. No science required, no nothing. Just a woman on the internet said it, and I like the sound of it, so I'll believe it.
Well, it must be nice to live that way, though.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
I feel electromagnetic.
I feel your electromagnetism curved.
Yeah, I always do. And somebody brought up something in the chat, and I was going to bring it up myself, so I just thought I'd address it. But I think it was Chris, most likely. But either way, they asked if Mark Sargent is the mayor of Flat Earth, and I was going to ask you guys if you think if it would be fair to say that he kind of is the face of Flat Earth.
Yes, I think it is. It is true. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so then.
And there aren't many of them that you'd want. You know, he does a good job, really, doesn't he, of representing it? When you think who could be out there doing it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I think that's what, you know, I'm just going to throw it out there, and I've said this before, but I don't have much to go on why this could be true, but I personally think that he's not an honest actor. I think there's more to him than he lets on, and he's probably not in this the same way the regular real flat earthers are. No, but I don't want to say too much.
I think he's enjoying the fame and the notoriety, and he makes money from it now. I mean, he also talked about how he was, just before the lockdown, he was going to be doing a commercial for McDonald's in London on Pancake Day.
What?
Yeah, I don't know whether it's actually a commercial. I don't know whether that doesn't sound quite right to me, but something for McDonald's.
Well, he's done a commercial already, so I mean, the only thing they're going to do with him is make fun of the flat Earth, of course. So
right, yeah.
So. Go ahead. Sorry.
Pancakes, you see, flat.
Exactly, yeah, because the whole Kansas flatter than pancake. They're probably something along those lines.
Do you have Pancake Day in America?
No, not that I know of.
Oh, we have it here. It's
what is it? What is that? What does that represent?
It's Shrove Tuesday. It's called. It's just before. It's before Lent.
Oh wait, what's it called? Something Tuesday?
Shrove, Shrove, Shrove Tuesday.
But you guys have Ash Wednesday?
Yes.
So you do the Tuesday, the Wednesday, then the Good Friday.
We don't really have them as holidays, but they are sort of recognised as a thing. But we do Pancake Day, and the idea was that you eat. I think the idea was you were using up your sort of perishables. You're using up your eggs and stuff before Lent. I think was the idea.
Oh, I see.
And your milk. You're getting them. I think that was the idea of it. I'm sure that's what I was told as a kid. So it's probably complete bollocks.
You guys do weird stuff over there, but at least you all got cool sounding holidays. Like you got Boxing Day, Pancake Day. So
yeah. Well, it's not actually a holiday, but people do, like companies, advertise around it and things like that. Do. And when I was at college, I was at catering college. We always made a big deal of it, and we did this a three-legged pancake race that we would go out and do on the street, actually on the road outside the college, all in our chef's whites, you know. Yeah. So.
Like taking this thing that doesn't mean anything like super seriously. I don't know. It's just funny. But what was it? Damn it! I just had something I was gonna say. Oh, about Mark Sargent. I wonder if they're gonna use that pancake commercial thing for something else then, or if they just didn't film it at all.
Oh, it never happened. It was when the sort of lockdown was beginning, so all the flights were stopped and it was cancelled basically.
He missed out then, because I
guess
bet
it might happen next year or something like that.
Yeah, he certainly is at least to the people outside this community, he has to be the face of the flat Earth. Like he's got to be the number one person that most people are familiar with.
Definitely. He's always put his number out there and everything, hasn't he? And that's the thing, really. And I think he often says that that's been key to it. He's always had a phone number out there, so people could just phone him, you know, and that makes it easy. And I think he realised a good while ago that there's a living to be made from being Mr. Flat Earth, you know.
Right. Well, he's already had this. He's already had a lifestyle like that before. That's kind of what I could maybe see that side of it instead of the whole he's a shill sort of thing. He has experience being a fringe type celebrity kind of person. So from that perspective, I could see how quickly and easily he can take on that role and know how to capitalize on it.
You're right. Anyway, shall we move on?
Absolutely.
Okay, still at Flatoberfest, Flat Earth manchild Nathan Thompson has some very sad news for the flatties. And I didn't queue this one up, so here it comes.
I'm getting a lot of messages. We didn't block anyone from the official Flat Earth and Globe discussion. We got 140,000 members in there learning the truth. The group was just deleted a few minutes ago. So I'm getting all kinds of people messaging me saying, why am I banned? Why am I banned? Nobody's banned. The group disappeared. So after 4 years, it was a good run, guys. I was laughing on the way here. I've been blocked. I was blocked when we went to Raleigh. I was blocked when we went to Denver. I was blocked when we went to Dallas. I couldn't live stream. I couldn't be in the group. And I was laughing on the way here. And I was like, man, I'm not blocked. I can live stream. And the group disappeared. So funny how that works out. I just wanted to let you guys know that's what happened. So thanks, Nathan.
Hey, so Nathan, we're curious. Your first reaction, losing the Facebook group. What are you going to do?
I felt like there's a lot of weight lifted off my shoulders because when I started that group, I would sleep for 2 or 3 hours, bro, and I'd wake up and I have such a commitment to the truth of Flat Earth that I was like, is anyone cursing? Is anyone insulting our members? They're going to go. We're going to boot their ass, you know what I mean? I don't care. But after 4 years of doing that and then deleting the group, I feel like a giant weight was lifted off my shoulders. You know what I mean? And now I want to start a new group, and it's just Flat Earth. And we're not going to debate globally because we did that for 4 years, and that's how we made a name for ourselves. We're showing that they have no arguments. We're showing that they don't test Earth themselves. Show that they blindly believe everything the government tells them. Show that they're all pre-programmed to ask the same 10 or 20 questions. Where's the edge? Are all astronauts lying? Show me a picture of the Flat Earth, or the entire Flat Earth. It's all straw mans, all fallacies. And so, dude, to be honest, I feel like they set me free, dude. Okay, great. I feel so good. Good to hear. Because, honestly, I didn't think we would get over 100,000 members. And we've had 100,000 members for 3 years. You know what I mean? And we would add 1,200 members a week, and the group reflects in the members 500 members being added. And we're like, man, they are hiding. I wouldn't be surprised if we had 250,000, 500,000 people in the group, and they were just hiding the member count, somehow through this algorithm. So, in my opinion now, dude, anyone who comes in, acts like person Globe, asks questions about Globe Earth, how do you explain this? Look, you're booted, okay? You're either a flat earther and you're trying to figure everything out, which is cool, You understand space. We're not blasting through space. The Earth's not a globe, unfortunately, that NASA shows us. And large bodies of water don't curve. If you can't figure that out, we don't need to talk about Sigma Cantor. We don't need to talk about moon phases. We don't need to talk about Mars and Saturn. We don't need to talk about seasons. We don't talk about an edge. We don't talk about any of that crap, okay? Until you realize that the surface of Earth doesn't curve and it's not spinning 1,000 miles an hour, you're not welcomed in the new group. Sorry.
What's your favorite flat Earth proof?
Favorite one would be fluid statics. When large bodies of water are at rest, they do not curve. The surface is level and horizontal to the container. So fluid statics, in my opinion, 70% of the Earth's surface is water. Every glowhead knows that. When you teach them physics of water and how water at rest isn't curving, it's not convex, it's perfectly flat. That's why they call it sea level. The word level means free of bends, curves, or irregularity. So it's not bending, it's not irregular. Its synonyms are plumb, flush, flat, straight. So when they say sea level, they're saying sea flat. They're saying sea plumb, sea flush, sea straight. You know. So and what's funny is you don't see curve, right? So when you see, you're seeing straight on. So it's kind of redundant to say sea level. That is kind of an oxymoron. It's the sea. That's why you can see so far, guys. There's no topography. There's no trees. There's no buildings. There's no people in your way asking you, well, how do you explain star rotation? Right? So I think fluid statics would be the number one. The second best one, my favorite one to go with, and this is great for debating. Anytime I'm in a debate, does the Earth rotate under things or not? Because the religion teaches the ball Earth rotates under things, guys. Bob allegedly proved it on Netflix. But if the Earth rotates under a Sagnac interferometer or ring laser gyroscope, it would have to rotate under hot air balloons, cannons shot straight up, helicopters, planes flying east and west, and west and east would have drastically different times for their arrivals. Like this is so basic, guys, that when something goes up in the air, like you jump, you don't land in a different spot. That's what the globe religion says, dude. That's how goofy the globe religion is. So if you can adjust the aperture in your eyes, right, so you can let in enough information, enough light, enough knowledge into your brain, and you're not narrow-minded, and you're going to see, of course, everything he's been talking about, everything I've been talking about, everything we've all been talking about. It's not some conspiracy theory, it's reality.
Nathan Thompson, my favourite flatty. God, that guy annoys me.
Yeah, he's a pretty. Yeah, he's. Do you know who the guy filming him is? Mighty chance, because
Authentic Intent. That is.
Oh, it is authentic. I thought he was just wearing his shirt. That's. I thought he was in jail or something.
Oh no.
Somebody else.
No, it is. That was Authentic Intent. No, he's not in jail.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to say. I don't want to spread rumors. Then I just remember a story vaguely.
Well, that thing happened. It's in his.
Hello,
past.
I'm MC2.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I think it was a few years ago or something. I don't know. So,
right.
Not that recent anyway.
Right. Well, I shouldn't have brought it up anyway. I'm not too familiar with it. But either way, so I guess he just started up a new group just right away or whatever. Probably got a bunch of maybe not a bunch of them, but I guess a few of the members back.
Yeah, he could have, of course, just deleted everyone before, couldn't he? Just got them, anyone who wasn't a flat earther. But I think, of course, he didn't want to do that because he likes swanning around saying, I've got the largest group in the world with 120,000 members. So, and I think he probably realised that most of those members were not flat earthers. So I guess we'll see what happens with his new group, won't we?
Yeah, I think nearly all of them.
But, really, are Facebook really deleting flat earth groups?
The groups, yeah. The groups, that's what I was going to ask about, too. I heard people talking about, chattering about it earlier and saying that there's a lot of racism and that kind of thing. And so I can see why that would cause them to delete something. Also, like I said, with that documentary and the whole general sentiment towards these kind of groups as far as social media,
Right.
So I think maybe they're more wary of those types of groups. But yeah, I guess if there's a lot of that conspiracy type of, COVID stuff
auto hoaxing, probably, yeah, and probably a lot of COVID stuff. Yeah, that's probably what's done for him. Is that stuff probably more?
Right. I missed something. Is Flat Earth a race now? Is that what Facebook is? But
it's I think it's just the racism that they, for some reason, also do, and it's not even just them. It could be trolls too, but
because they're racist against Globers. That it?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay.
We've had a long struggle, Globers, so.
Anyway, it'll be good not to have to hear Thompson saying, "I'm in the biggest Facebook group in the world," all that crap that he says. But
it would be good to never hear him again.
Yeah, well, that is true, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, that, like he says though, like many of them, he's reached the stage where he doesn't need to there's no debating anymore, and anyone that challenges his beliefs is going to be censored.
No, he knows something, therefore there's no need to even talk about Sigma Ante.
Yeah.
Anything that destroys Flat Earth, there's no need to go there, because we have this other unbounded speculation that we proclaim as 100% gospel. So we won't do anything like that. No.
All right, we should push on because we're near the 2-hour mark and we've still got a bit to get through, actually. 2 clips.
Power through.
Yes, I will.
This is fun.
It is. Actually, this is the best bit. For our next 2 clips, we start by going back in time a couple of months to a somewhat epic debate that I missed. Here is MC Toon.
Hello, I'm MC Toon, the second worst rapper in the world, or maybe not that good. Maybe I'm worse. I don't know. Today we've got a debate on 5G with Simon P. So, what claims do you have about 5G?
Well, it's an immune system suppressor at very least, which
and so evidence for that
4G.
Then. Hold on, evidence for that then, please.
Okay, it will be provided. 4G is also an immune system suppressor. I've got a conversation here. I'm going to post some screenshots and maybe we can discuss them. Okay, well, this guy, he advises the UK government on 5G, and he got a level of knowledge that once he got to that level of knowledge, he was taken into, shall we say, darkened rooms in cloaks and basements, taking not so secret oaths. And I've got a full confession here, where it's a fully capable weapons system, and I don't think we need much more than that, do we?
Oh, you certainly do.
Do we? Okay, well,
and unsubstantiated claims from an unknown person who did unknown things with unknown people.
He's not unknown. He's not unknown. The British government are fully aware of who he is.
Yeah. What is this guy's name and his position?
Well, you've got his first name here with a picture, but I don't want to give him a full name.
Okay, so then I will ignore. I will ignore everything he says. So, do you have any actual evidence?
You can ignore that because you're ignorant.
This guy who's an expert and is making, is advising the British government, is saying that 60 hertz is a problem.
Well, it's above 60 hertz. There's a wide range above 60 hertz. I mean, the military use 95 hertz to basically set your skin on fire. Microwave radiation has been used for years and years.
But 95 hertz is not microwave. It's significantly lower than microwave, 95 hertz.
Well, you're an indoctrinated pseudoscientist. So, so according to your research, what frequency have the military been using to disperse crowds and make them feel like their skin is on fire?
It sounds to me like you don't even know, and neither does this guy, know the difference between hertz and gigahertz. So could you clarify, are you meaning hertz or gigahertz?
Well, anyway, it's a fully capable weapon
Just
system.
Just a second. I want to be sure that I understand. Put that other one on where he was talking about the 60 hertz.
We've got someone else in the conversation here. Can you see who that is anywhere? There's 3 participants now.
Oh, I do see.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
There, I got you
I
now,
can hear
Mark.
you, Mark. How are you doing, Mr. Steele? Are you good, sir?
I'm very good, mate. Yeah, very good.
That's good, mate. So you're going to help me own this idiot here, mate, because I've got a full confession there, but it's a fully capable weaponized system by a UK government advisor. I was wondering whether you'd like to get into the technicalities with this tool.
No.
Yeah, I mean, governments will tell you that 5G safe, which is a total and absolute load of bollocks. You know, and any idiot who thinks that 5G safe. 5G is a weapon system off the battlefield.
So you have evidence for this, then.
Of fact, and any idiot who says anything other is obviously either working for the state apparatus or just basically doesn't understand the technology.
Evidence for this, Mark?
5G is a directional weapon system.
Do you have evidence for this,
Fact.
Mark? You're just making
Proven
claims.
Fact.
You're just
anybody says
claiming
anything other,
you're just
either mentally
claiming that,
disturbed
Mark.
or they just don't understand the technology. Pretty straightforward to me.
I do understand the technology, but Mark, you're making
No, I don't
claims.
think you do understand the technology. One of the things that I've noticed about you in particular, you're a bit thick, you're a bit stupid, and what you've tried to do, you tried to discredit me, and I've come here tonight.
You have. I don't need to discredit you. You haven't been credited yet.
You don't absolutely. You are an absolute joke. There are children being burnt to death.
Yeah,
in North
that's
London.
a lie. That's a lie too, Mark. Mark, that's a disgusting lie.
Something? Do you fancy me or something?
No, I think you're a disgusting liar, and that's why I say all this and I do this, because
Why
you're
would
a
you say
horrible,
that?
horrible, terrible person.
More than half of England are behind this man. More than half of England are behind this man, and more are waking up to it. No one wants 5G
Simon,
over here, mate.
Quiet, Simon.
Don't be shushing me, mate.
Listen,
go on.
what is it? Is it why you keep moving about? Is it the thing you've got stuck with your backsides making you a bit uncomfortable?
Yeah, I'm excited. This is a lot of fun, Mark.
I'm absolutely positive about you've never had any involvement in weapon systems.
But neither of you, Mark. No, you haven't.
No. You're saying that. Do you want me to sue you? Right?
Yeah, go ahead. You have no, Mark. I'll just make it clear. You have no expertise in weapon systems. I'll just say that right now. None.
Well, you've already proven yourself to be a liar.
None. You have no expertise in weapon systems.
I'm a weapon systems expert. I've got 20 patents, you clown, in this field.
Yeah.
I've got 20 patents.
Yeah, cite them. Cite them. Cite them.
You should have come to the court case, right?
Yes. Okay, so you can't cite them.
You put up something that obviously didn't look like, what Mark was talking about. And with me, I just went, 2 minutes on Google Images, found exactly what Mark's talking about.
I'll bring it up. I got it
just so
here.
happens to be talking about, 60 gigahertz millimeter waves. So I'm sorry, you're discredited right there.
You won a court case, Mark. We're with you, mate. The people are with you, mate. You won a court case.
With me, because unfortunately, you see, this clown, what he hasn't got right is the years of experience that I've
No, you don't have years of experience, Mark. You're lying about that. Everybody knows that. You were in prison, Mark. You were in prison. You weren't doing these things. You didn't do anything with radio frequency. You said in 2018 that you don't have any expertise in radio frequency. So this is out. That's what you said. This is outside your skill set. Now,
have you ever worked on
where's your evidence it's safe?
Have you ever worked on an USA project?
Neither have you. So I'm not claiming to be an expert. You are, and you have no citations. You have no credibility in it.
Secret projects I worked on because I was going on the USA.
I'll just hand wave dismiss that because you have no evidence for it, Mark.
Hang on a minute.
No evidence.
What does USA stand for?
No evidence.
What does USA stand for?
USA?
USA stand for?
USA is United States of America.
USA. What does it stand
is that
for?
German?
The USA.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's the official secrets act, you clown.
Oh, okay.
You are a total and absolute
care.
clown.
So
I've just sent this to you. You've never seen it before, and now you're an expert on it. You haven't read it, yeah, but you're an expert on it.
Well, you were saying
Now,
that the lenses
what
look
I'm-
the same. I'm explaining
Yes,
what these lenses are.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm saying it's, it looks the same as what Mark was saying, not the bullshit that you put up to try and discredit him. Now I've shown you I've shown you one
It doesn't
example.
look like it.
Yes,
It looks
yes,
it looks like it doesn't look like what Mark did. Look at this here. This says this H1. You see this
like,
H1?
I know. Wait, because this is just one example. Technology means that there are variations of it, improvements, whatever. Yeah, it doesn't. The next version doesn't need to have a particular patch.
Oh.
It can be whatever, but it could look like a blob of varnish, not this metal contraption that you put up. Right? That's the example. That's why I brought this example up.
Yeah. So I get that.
So you
And
laughing.
the
you
important
laughing
part.
at-
The important
laughing
part
at
is that
what
there's a
Mark
gap
said.
between the transmitter
Laughing.
and the
No,
lens.
It's not important. Otherwise,
Oh, it
it's
certainly
not that
is. It certainly is. And the document you sent is from 2019. This particular thing was designed in 2007 about. So 12 years before this document that you showed. And so the advancements in technology didn't happen, right? That gap between the transmitter and the lens is critical.
Okay, so the point is, you're saying that the technology, right, is it's the wrong way round. Well, I'm afraid we don't know what the military is playing around with.
But
yeah?
that's not military. Harvard Technology isn't the military. Harvard Technology is just a company in England there.
That's got nothing to do with children being burnt to death in North London.
But they're not being burned to death because
They're
you.
being burnt, they're being burnt.
You did not.
Microwave warfare has been used by the military for a long
You
time.
did not. You disgusting pig. You did not. You're not a medical doctor. You did not. Hold on. You are a pathetic piece of garbage. You disgusting pig. There is nothing that you know about those kids. You were not there. You're not a medical doctor. You don't know anything about them, and you're using their deaths for your stupid hustle. You pathetic pig. Disgusting, horrible person. Mark Steele, you are completely evil. Such a piece of garbage that you would use some innocent kid's death for your own gain. How gross is that?
Well said, MC Toon. That was an epic debate. It's on his channel. You can go and find it if you want. It's definitely worth a look. You heard the voice of Dave Murphy at the he got in on it as well for some reason because he's he's an anti-5G guy. And you heard, of course, him grappling for excuses there. Hadn't got a clue what he was talking about, just making shit up as he went along. Any old ad hoc reasoning that he can come up with. What did you guys think?
Well, wasn't that the same dude who does his we saw his interview or his show earlier from his car? Or is that a different dude?
No, it's a different dude. This is the Mark Steele. This is the 5G guy. Where we have seen him was on that event 202. He's appeared at some of those protests in London. He's been at some of those.
I remember that guy too. So I guess it's wrong to say that they look alike then, because they did seem.
They're not unalike, I guess, in a way.
Okay.
You don't remember the weapons expert that broke down the 5G LED laser weapon?
Yeah, it's a kill grid. He always talks about it being a kill. 5G is a kill grid.
No, yeah, I remember this guy. I remember all that. I for a second I thought maybe those were the same guy now, but yeah, okay, they're different people. Regardless, yeah, I mean, I don't watch McToon's MC Toon's show or his channel, but the little bit that I see of it, like in clips from your show and otherwise, he does seem to be he seems like a fair guy, a guy who
he stays calm. He obviously knows what he's talking about. He obviously knows this subject very well. That was clear, and they hadn't got a clue. That Mark Steele, he's just making shit up. I mean, the main argument there that you kind of saw a bit of was he's claiming that a sort of a blob of varnish on a circuit board is one of these what do they call it? Some sort of something lens. It's part of the antenna system of the the transmitting antenna. It sort of magnifies the signal, I think, or something. But he's claiming that, normally these things are a sort of little metal cone, and he's claiming that this blob of varnish is one of those or something. So that was what a lot of the argument was about.
And did they ever get to the bottom of whether or not they were talking about 60 hertz or 60 gigahertz?
Right. Well, that was clearly an error, and that guy at the beginning, the Simon P, who the debate was supposed to be with, I think. The others just seemed to come out of nowhere. So I don't. But MC2 sort of, he never said anything, so I don't know whether he was expecting them or not. But he didn't bat an eyelid as they arrived.
Yeah, it was probably something of the people listening and also him could sense the inadequacy and probably thought that they needed to, because they're like 60. I mean, they probably heard that 60 hertz thing, and that's an obvious error in somebody's someone's copying and pasting or whatever. But
that was kind of him done, because MC2 goes, so which is it, 60 hertz or gigahertz? And he goes, there's this like moment of silence, isn't there? It's slightly too long, and he goes, yeah, but it's a battlefield weapon system, and just totally changes, thinks he could somehow just step us past that and not respond to it,
Exactly.
And that was almost him done, and he sort of, after that, his only contributions were sort of, feeble attempts to take the piss, Sort of, he just looked like a moron. And he's a flat earther as well. He made a couple of comments about MC2 having a globe behind him, and believing in a globe and this sort of thing. So yeah, he's a flatty as well.
Right. Well, I mean, that makes sense though. That would seem like the appropriate response to being a flat earther and listening to this, is thinking, okay, maybe we should get in there and make sure he doesn't embarrass us beyond the point of.
Well, it's funny because you could hear the joy in his voice when Mark Steele arrived. He's going, oh, all right, my good sir, and all this, all right, mate. You could just hear how happy he was that he'd got some backup, And of course, Mark Steele was absolutely useless. I mean, he just over, it was the usual, the tactics we've all seen, it's kind of like Demok.
Oh, sure.
Go ahead, Curve. What did you think?
I was just chuckling at that Demok.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think Steele performed much better because he said less stupid things than the original guy.
Right. Yeah.
Not by much, but just by a little. He did win. He edged him out there for saying less stupid things. Those guys, they're so clueless. It's so sad, and they're so confident, so arrogant.
Right.
They should be put in prison labor camps, I think. Just try it out and see how that works. See if it stops this stuff.
Yeah. We might not get license plates anymore.
What you should do is put them in some sort of prison camp with sort of, electronic alarm systems and things like that, and give them like a load of electronic components, circuit boards, resistors and capacitors and solder and all the soldering iron and all this, and say, right, get yourself out of this. Electronics expert. Well, he calls himself a weapons expert, which is always just, it's unbelievably sickly ironic in that he managed to accidentally shoot and paralyze someone.
Yeah, right.
So, maybe that's why. Maybe it's some sort of psychological way of dealing with that.
Yeah, it must be.
To be honest. I don't know.
That's one way. That's one way of working that out. Yeah, is you can either, own up to whatever you've done, or you could double down. And unfortunately, some people double down.
Right. Yeah. Maybe that's what it is.
Ooh. Maybe Steele could contact Riley and sue the guy for damaging him psychologically.
Yeah, could be.
I hate
his paralysis is causing Steele problems, apparently. So why not sue the guy?
I'd hate to suggest this, but I think somebody might end up getting shot in that, and I think somebody else might end up losing that case. So.
Anyway, there's a follow-up to this, which we're going to watch next.
Yay.
So, finally, some more Mark Steele. It seems the weapons expert who accidentally shot someone has finally found some documents which support his claims that 5G is a weapon system. Take a look.
Morning, everybody. Right. Let's just go through, because we've still got a load of Doubting Thomases. Well, I'm pretty sure they're not Doubting Thomases anymore. I think they've just shown their hands. They're state actors. We get a lot of them. Trolls, state actors involved in, the emerging resistance to 5G. And obviously, satanic paedophilia. Ritualistic satanic paedophilia. Now, we know who they are. You've got a number of these people popping in, basically parachuted in to try and control the groups and the numbers. Unfortunately, a lot of these groups show their hand quite quickly because they don't want to talk about 5G, and they definitely don't want me talking about 5G because I know what I'm talking about. So that's pretty obvious. So we know that this is direct energy weapons. That is the technical product for 5G. Now, here we've got the enable attack target document from Hawaii. Beam-forming target correlation to track and illuminate a target with the configured beam-formed lobe. A target. You get it? It's all the way from Hawaii, from China, Chinese whistleblower. And what it actually states there, clearly, maximum level for the attack. Maximum level for the attack. Now, you see, this is a restricted part of this document. Local attack configuration commands. You see this here? 868, that's in the streetlights. WIMAC, that was in the streetlights fitted by criminals at Gateshead Council, a weapon system on behalf of the Chinese. Now, here's a really interesting piece of documentary evidence from the IEE. Right, well, what they're saying here, right, massive scale urban pacification. That's to pacify the population. That's why nobody's jumping around going mental, thinking these lots trying to kill you. They're already playing with your mind, right? What's going to be quite interesting is whole population would need to be inoculated. So the whole population would need to be vaccinated by a resonance enhancer. So that's the tungsten and the tungsten nanoparticles and the aluminium nanoparticles in the vaccine. That's why they want you to get the vaccine, right? Because they plan to kill you.
I have a very special show for you today. We are going to be exposing Mark Steele. So this is a document that was leaked to him from, he says, a whistleblower. Now, I saw this when it came out. I had no idea what it was. And I looked at, and he has a screenshot of it as well. And I'm like, oh, that's very strange. There are some interesting things that I saw in here. One of the things that I was very curious about was the passkey. Now, it's hard to see on here, but the passkey is very, very long. Here's a zoom in of it that I did. Look at this here. Look at how long that default passkey is. It's incredibly long. I even cropped it here for you. Look at that. Look how it's 68. It's 68 characters long. Can you believe that? Well, you know what I did? I typed that in and I checked it out. Later in there, he also shows this particular page, right? Restricted. And then that also has a record security hash. Those codes are base 64 encoded data. And you can go into your own base 64 encoder. Right there, like this.
I think some people have figured it out.
And then you click decode, and look what you get. Mark Steele's own document that he leaked has a special message just to Mark Steele.
I'm trying to leave my sunglasses for this. I really am.
Yes, it says Mark Steele is a twat. Who will believe any old naughty? Now, I did not make this document. I don't know who did make this document, but hats off to you, whoever did it. Excellent troll. Mark Steele trolled himself by putting this very thing on his own video. Then later he did the second one, which I'll put in the chat right now.
More.
There's more. This is the one I showed you also. Zoomed in. This is a little shorter. You see that there? Let's go.
Hash. Yes.
Yes, this is decode there, and we have it's some naughty words there I won't repeat, but that's also in Mark Steele's own video. So, and then there's one more message specifically to Mark. Yeah, this one here on this particular page. Look at my website to get it. Here's the base 64 encoded data, and then here it is. The decoded, will Mark Steele believe this crap? Yeah, I bet he will. But now you can see that he's a liar and a fraud. Mark Steele, you're a liar and a fraud.
Well, what actually happened, I had a bona fide document, right, sent to me from Hackett. I had some screenshots at first sent to me, and I said I wouldn't accept it. I wanted the full document. So I ended up getting the full document. When I looked at the document, it's a technical document from Hackett. That's just confirmed, right? It's a confirmation to me that it was correct. And obviously, I've got a weapons systems background. The documentary evidence in that document shows that what that equipment is a weapon. Now, obviously, there was some other data in there that had been embedded in it, right? That tries to make me look as if I don't know what I'm talking about. But if you present me with a weapon, right, in a technical document, obviously I can identify it as a weapon. So that's what I did. So to me, it was a bona fide document, as we know it is, right, which shows that the Hackett equipment is a weapon. The fact that somebody embedded some nonsense in it is of no concern of mine, right? The fact is they'd actually getting that document, Mickey'd it. Now think about this, what sort of psyop is this? So that working with the Chinese to try and discredit me from telling people that 5G is a weapon. Now that's pretty strange, isn't it? It's pretty strange who these people are. I mean, what is their game? What is their game in trying to discredit me from warning people about a 5G weapon that will kill them and kill their children in conjunction with a contaminated vaccination? So you see that in a panic. I don't panic about things like this. In fact, I thought it was quite interesting, quite clever, quite a clever psyop. But you see, whenever you get this type of statecraft, or let's call it Satan's craft, deliberate divisive tactics, right? What it shows, what over the target. Whenever you're over the target, you get a lot of flack. So all that does is confirms we are over the target. All of my videos, my social media were taken down because they don't want me to tell you that 5G is a weapon. And obviously all we've had is a weapon from America, right, who's tried to send me a document, a bona fide document, by the way, right, because I checked it out, it's bona fide, and it identifies the equipment as a weapon. Now, obviously, if it's been doctored to show that it's a weapon, and it's not a weapon, well, I would identify it as a weapon, because that's what I am, a weapons expert. So I identified the documents as bona fide, as they are, as a weapon. Simple. Nothing complicated. The fact that they embedded some crap in it is of no concern of mine. That's just a little bit joke between them and the intelligence agency, because that was, and as anybody can see, a psyop. Simple.
And that was Mark Steele making a bit of a dick of himself. So,
Sorry, so definitely then what I said before about him doubling down.
Absolutely, yeah.
It seems that's like his main thing that he does.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he was actually sent, this is the interesting thing, he was actually sent 2 documents from 2 different people. Because as we saw MC Toon say, he didn't make that document, but they made another document, the IEEE one, or IEEE, I should say.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was like, I heard him say that. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he says that wrong all the time, apparently. So they made that one, and that one is total gibberish. I mean, it's just got like made up words in it, and the authors are like, characters out of games and out of Pokemon and things like that. And I mean, it's just total nonsense. But he fell for that as well.
Any idea? Well, obviously, maybe you don't have a clue, but any chance we probably know these people who did this troll? Because
I don't know. He mentioned some group called what was it? Something 77. So I think he's probably he's attracted attention from other debunkers or whatever. I think other people who aren't part of, who haven't come at it from our angle, I should say. So I'm not really sure, but there's obviously a few people want to make an idiot of him.
Yeah, but I mean that's like kudos to MC Toon to come across that, because otherwise it would have just gone. I mean, it would have just, the whole troll would have been not really realized. So it's a bit clever to do it that way too, because you get like you get it talked about first, and then eventually somebody realizes, wait a minute, let's see what this code is.
It is, yeah. That is quite clever, isn't it? Yeah. Because anyone in the know, it's he said. I mean, I wouldn't have known, but he knew what that code was just by looking at it, or he had an idea of what to do with it, where to take it to decode it. Whereas I wouldn't have had a clue about that.
All right.
So, but I guess educated people know that sort of stuff, and so anyone who's got a little bit of knowledge is going to be able to come across that very quickly and see and realize it's fake,
But even to think that might be one, although I don't know why there would be a passcode on there in the first place, but regardless, unless of course the Chinese just think he's a twat, and maybe they just wanted to add that in there.
Yeah, good point. What do you reckon, Curved? Any thoughts on this?
I think you're overlooking the fact that he is a weapons expert, and he identified these weapons in these documents that he identified as being bona fide. So,
exactly.
All righty.
Oh, I missed a couple of super chats. Lael is here, says, at work, I learned something new today. That is, the US has star forts. Oh, well, where have you been, Lael? I knew that. And Lael is here, says, do you like super chats? Read my last. You're right, Lael. You're right. I'm slacking. I am sorry. I was, it slipped by and slipped out of my mind. I do apologize.
He's a funny dude. Well, what was he saying though? What did you just say? What do we have in the U.S.? Skyfalls?
Star forts.
I don't know. What does that mean?
Star, S-T-A-R, fort, F-O-R-T, star forts.
I still don't.
You don't know about star forts? Oh,
I guess not.
It's part of the mud flood thing. The Statue of Liberty is built upon a star fort. No, it actually is. And star forts were kind of a design that forts were built to this design for hundreds of years.
Oh, no, I know exactly what this is. I've seen this in military strategies and stuff like that. Who was it? Julius Caesar, I think. Well, anyways, it was this is advantageous shape for a fort, for a base.
Right. Yeah, and it enables you to create a crossfire, I think, is the idea, isn't it? I think isn't that it? Anyway, That's Star Forts. I'm not really sure why that's come up, but the Statue of Liberty is on one, apparently. That's what they say. And it's the Mud Flooders like them. I know that.
Well, that'll appease the Mud Flooders.
Of course. Right, well, we've been going for 2.5 hours, so we probably ought to end the show, I think. Because that's a long one, as the actress said to the bishop. So, we'll do that. A great big thank you to everyone who has donated to my PayPal so far. If you can support the show, please follow the links in the description. And please, please, please subscribe to the channel. Join us again next week for more fabulous flatness. In the meantime, if you see something that you think should be included in the show, please post a timestamp link in the comments section of this video. Or join our Discord server. The link is in the description along with channel links for tonight's panel. Our Discord has nearly over 2,000 members, and we managed to keep a conversation going virtually 24/7. We welcome members with opposing views, so click the link and join us. Thanks again to tonight's fabulous panel. Thanks to all of you for watching. We'll be back around the same time next week. So until then, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Have a good evening.
Stop talking about it and do something! Suck my dick, Earth, with that bullshit.
Lyle says, don't feel bad, King Kosho. I don't know what Star Forts are.
It's like a gentle hate. Do we have another benevolent star here? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Are you benevolent? Is your friend was?
My name is Logan Paul, and I think I'm coming out of the flat earth closet.
This is so fucking depressing. I can't be a flat earth person.
You can't have it both ways. You can't have a flat earth and things making sense.